Hey everybody, MILKnEGGs here with Mildly Irritated, and today we're going to start a campaign in Total War Warhammer 3. Unlike the rest of our games, this is not an indie game, this is not a small game, and it's not a new game to me. I've been playing this game since it launched, even in the beta beforehand. I played a lot of Total War Warhammer 1, Total War Warhammer 2, and I have about 109 hours on this one. And to be honest with you, I'm not very good at it yet. Still not very good at it. I'm a little bit better than a novice, but one thing, like I had mentioned in previous games with the RTS-style games, I really like zooming in and watching the battles happen. So instead of jumping around from this part of the map to this part of the map, giving orders here and having this unit charge, I really like watching that unit charge and break a unit, so it holds me back a little bit. But anyway, let's get into the game. Total War Warhammer 3, for those of you who don't know, are a combination of two different games. The Total War series is kind of a 4X style game, explorer, and so on and so forth. You build colonies, you build up settlements, and then you take army from location to location, conquering and completing various tasks depending on the campaign that you're doing. And Warhammer is a miniature game that's been around for a very long time. I think maybe 80s, maybe even earlier than that, or possibly later. I didn't get into the miniatures of it until it went into the Age of Sigmar, which is the newer version. So if you search Warhammer looking for the fantasy version of Warhammer, you'll probably find Age of Sigmar before you'll find the old world, which is what this game is based on. So it's a very easy coupling. They did a great job of bringing Warhammer into the Total War style of gameplay. It's really fun to play. I highly recommend it if you haven't played, but I decided we're going to do a campaign for you all. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do a new campaign. We're going to do the Immortal Empire so that everything is in the game. Immortal Empires is a vast, huge area, a gigantic map. As you can see through it, it's got all the factions in it, all the factions from Total Warhammer 1, Total Warhammer 2, and Total Warhammer 3. So we're going to do that. And I kind of went through a few of them trying to decide which one I wanted to do for this video. I played through the Beastmen successfully. I played through the Dwarves successfully, which I thought about doing again, because everybody likes Dwarves, and Dwarves are my favorite faction overall. As I've gotten older, I kind of just relate more to being angry all the time, and more than mildly irritated. So, but I decided we're going to go with Khorne, because I think they'll be the most fun to watch. Khorne is the god of slaughter, blood, war. As you can see, Scarbrand is our big leader. He's going to be our central focus of the army. It's probably not super smart to put all your eggs in the basket, but like I said before, I kind of just like cool things. So we're going to go and we're going to make him basically our big beefcake guy. We're going to focus everything we have onto him and then have every other unit kind of supporting him as he goes. So the starting army, you get some Bloodletters of Khorne, which are going to be armor-piercing anti-infantry. They're one of the two base army units for the army. They're going to be good up against some high armor units. They're not going to be so good against mobs like peasants and stuff like that. But that's why you have the Warriors of Khorne. They're armor and shielded, so they're going to be able to take a little bit more of the fire, the arrow fire. I can't go over the... Oh, there we go. I can. So essentially what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to take some blocking shots for the arrows and stuff. So we'll have them up front kind of marching forward, taking on the shots, while we have the Bloodletters in the back line kind of following them around. Chaos Warhounds are our harassment unit. We're going to kind of move them around the back and harass the archers to disrupt fire lines, or more likely we're probably going to use them to chase off units so that they don't recover. A lot of that you'll see in game. Faction effects, armies replenish in foreign territories, which is great. Diplomatic relations, -20 with Khorne factions. For those of you who don't know, Khorne does not like Khorne. The Khorne factions are very rivalrous. They do not like each other. They war all the time to kind of take power from each other, so that makes a lot of sense. Campaign movement range plus 15% after raising a settlement. That'll become more clear in the game, and the rest of it will really become more clear as we go. So let's go ahead and just start campaign so you guys can see kind of what this is. The desolate and unforgiving Badlands are so named for good reason. They are notorious for the numerous greenskin tribes that prowl their wastes, not to mention the degenerate remnants of defeated warbands and droves of bandits, criminals, and worse. They are made even more inhospitable by the harsh and unforgiving landscape, littered with storm-tossed boulders and the rubble of long-dead empires. A traveler does not have to go far before stumbling upon a ruin or a cairn, or an untimely and undoubtedly violent end. As you can see, the guys at CA, which is who developed Total War, just knocked it out of the park with this art. It's gorgeous. It looks great. I love the red and brass that you see, and it's very iconic for Khorne to have that red and brass. The symbol of Khorne, of course, is on the front here, which is great. You have some bloodletters mixed in with some Khorne warriors here. That's kind of a marauder-looking guy. I think that's where they went here, since he doesn't have any of the armor. And here's our Big Papa Scarbrand. All right, let's continue. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Throughout this land in a tide of blood, Khorne commands it.
All right, how they play, harvesting skulls. We're gonna just kind of skip all that. I know what to do with it. We harvest skulls up here, and we use that for various abilities. This is basically our gold for this faction. It has our background income and our army upkeep there. We start out with Scarbrand here. He's got his starting units we already went over, and then we have a hero here. Zakroska, Blood Reaper. It's pretty good. We're gonna get him in there, increase his mobility. It's fantastic. All the game is based around having some units. These are units. These are gonna have, how many people do we have in here? 100 unit size there. 100 unit size there. Pretty easy to tell with that. 80 unit size. And then you have your heroes, like this guy here, the Blood Reaper. Or a Lord, I think they're actually called. No, they're called a hero. That's right. So you have a hero, and they have abilities they can do. When you embed them in an army, they can do something. In this case, increase mobility by 10%, which is good. And that can be upgraded throughout the game. He's only rank 1 now, so that's all he has. And then you have your lords, which are your ones that can lead the army. Scarbrand is our biggest, baddest lord. He's got some really cool abilities he'll unlock later. He's got the best weapon in the game, in my opinion, that essentially let you get stronger as you kill more things. So, we have pretty much, they give us like a tutorial level fight to start off with. And I always do it because I love watching the first fight. Mostly because it's so easy that I can just simply watch all of my cool guys do their cool things, and it'll be a good time. We get to see Khorne in action, or not Khorne, but Scarbrand in action. We'll get to kind of start practicing a little bit with our maneuverability and see what everyone else is doing. A little bit of a choke point. So right here we have the map of the battle, so you can kind of pre-plan all of your movements and all of your strategies. There's a bit of a choke point right there, represented right here. Not a whole lot. We got some cavalry. They might be a little bit of a problem. We don't have a whole lot that can deal with the shock cavalry if they use them properly. And it looks like they have one set of archers. So first thing I always do is I set up my control groups. Big Pop is always number 1. Heroes are usually number 2. My front line I usually have is number 3. Secondary line number 4. And then I usually put like my harassers at the end. Pretty easy. It's just so you can move them around a little easier. Just standard RTS type stuff. I'm going to try, I think, to get these dogs around, but they might be used to interrupt the shock troops. Are the shock troops shielded or armored at all? No, they have armor piercing, so our dogs will be fine against them, and so will the bloodletters. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get our Chaos Warriors of Khorne kind of up into these guys to bog them down, while we get the bloodletters of Khorne to kind of intercept the shock cavalry, because the armor piercing aren't going to do anything to the bloodletters since there's not really a whole lot of armor there anyway. But we want to keep those charging away from our Chaos Warriors, and probably not our bloodletter either. Our blood lord here. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. He has a ability. Let's see if we can find it here. Here we go. Is this one it? That's not what we're looking for. Encourage. Just a leadership bonus. That's what this is going to give here, I think. They can hide in the forest, which is fine. Scarbrand he's just going to run up and just go to town. He doesn't care that much. He heals pretty fast afterward. So we're really going to just kind of move along without worrying too much about him. So let's put the dogs back here so we can bring him in later. And Scarbrand we're going to put up here, and he's going to just run forward and start the party. Yeah, there we go. All right, start battle. Here we go. Scarbrand, go straight dead center for that guy, because we just want to go kill him, and we're going to move everyone else forward a little bit. Scarbrand's got an ability. He's got Rage Embodied. Affects enemies in range. It's going to essentially put them in Rampage, which means they can't run away, which is great for archery. So if we get the archers into melee range, we can pull them in so that they can't run away and shoot. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to make this charge right here and push through and get them to rage and come into fight so that we don't get a whole lot of arrows coming at us. Oh, I totally messed up. The inner ring is that one. Huh. Oh, well, we're just going to go straight for these guys. There we go. Not a problem. Not a problem. Scarbrand's just going to tank everything. Let's go take a look. You gotta love watching him just pounce everywhere. There we go. Double axes. He's wrecking them already. Easy. Alright, we have a charge coming in the back, so we're going to get a little bit of a flanking bonus, but we want to get them out of there so they don't get surrounded. We'll send the Bloodletter Leader over here. Now we're going to get him back a little bit. We don't want to get those guys too far forward. Yep, we're going to get the dogs back away from those the salvage orcs, because they're going to take them down pretty good. Alright, there's the shot. That's what we were waiting for. We wanted those shocks to come through. We're going to hold them up, and the Bloodletters are going to go take them out. Now we're going to bring these guys up to support. And we can come in here, and we can go in like that, and we can go in here. Scarbrand's doing just fine by himself. No need to worry there. We're going to bring these guys out so that they can harass anyone who gets broken here. And it looks like these shock cavalry might be about broken. So one important part of the game is leadership. So as you can see, they have a white flag on them, so they're going to be running. They're running away. Essentially what you can see here is you see the leadership. Once it gets to negative, they're going to be running away. And that's when we can kind of use our dogs to harass them. Eventually, their leadership will recharge, and they'll come back into the battle if we don't keep harassing them. But as long as we keep doing damage, that number is going to keep going up, and we're going to be able to keep them from re-engaging. But now that they're pretty much dead, there's only like one left. We can let them go, and we're going to keep these archers entertained for a while. And it looks like we're still doing pretty good everywhere else. This one is taking quite a bit longer than I'd like. We need to get a surround. So as you can see, there's only like so many areas you can fight, so you really want to surround so you can have more models on models is really what you want. So that's kind of what I'm doing here with my warriors, and we have victory. So what we could do is we could just skip to the end. I always really just enjoy killing the boss at the end, and I'll just fast forward to do it. It's just fun. There's no other reason to do it. Yeah, he's dead. We got him. Decisive victory. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, no problems at all. Scarbrand got 62 kills. Pretty good. You can actually see the amount of damage dealt as gold value. He did about 1,292 damage, which is going to vastly outpace about everybody else that we have, most likely. But now that we're loading here, we'll have to wait and see after that. We only lost 37, so it's pretty good for our first try. Our first go against the orcs here. We were vastly overpowering them, so really it's not a surprise. Yeah, our hero here got a little bit. The next high, hey, we got 69 kills there. That's pretty good. 406 value there, 261, 390. So as you guys see, Scarbrand probably got as much as everyone else combined. Or at least pretty close. So we can choose what we want to do here. We can either get skulls to increase our skull for the skull throne there. We can devour the captives to increase our regeneration. So if you look over here on the left, you can see the left go up, which we might do just so we can continue the onslaught and keep moving throughout the map. Or we can just get some money. I think we're going to take the devour because it's going to give us quite a bit of our units back. So we're going to grab that. Usually if the hero survives, or if there's enough of them left, they will run here. I'm not exactly sure what determines that. Even though I've played this game for 110 hours now, probably. Still don't understand it, but that's how you can get in the game, really. You don't have to understand it to play, which is great. So Scarbrand leveled up. We're gonna we always take route marcher right away, no matter what, because we want to be able to move. The farther we can move, the more often we can move, the more fights we can have, the more fun we have. And same thing with our hero here. We're just taking increased mobility. We want to move more. It's that simple. Because of that, we can... Looks like we might be able to attack the settlement already, which is great. Nope, not quite. Oh, there's that littlest bit of red right there. We can almost get there, so we're going to have to wait a turn there. And we're out of our local recruitment range. So another part of the game is recruiting your forces. You can recruit units here or recruit units of renown. Renown we earn as we go, and we can unlock these from getting a higher rank with our lords. And then our recruitment option, global and local, it just depends on where we're at. So the only place we have right now is Death Gorge here. And we have available, we have this in here. Normally what I like to do is once we get another one of these spots, I'll go ahead and demolish this one, because this tells you what level you have to be to upgrade it, right? And this is going to be our upgrading area. So this place can go up to 5, and these ones can only go up to 3. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll move this one to one of the other ones, because this is kind of a wasted slot in our capital. But I have to wait. I really usually wait so that we don't run out of anything. And I'll want to replace these with something that's going to scale into the 5 area. So for right now, I'm going to probably get rid of this one first, because we want to be able to have bloodletters, and we're not going to have a level 2 here right away. So we're going to demolish this one now, and we're going to start that later. All right, next we're going to pick our research, and this is going to be the cost of skulls and the amount of turns it's going to take to find. Let's see here. Campaign movement for blood hosts. So one of the other things about this army is we can summon blood hosts when we destroy a settlement rather than raising it. So that's something to do. I never really cared for it because it does take away some of your income, and I'm not very good at managing that, so I usually kind of avoid those unless I need them. Income from post-battles, always good. Income from raidings, okay. I like to raid sometimes, but usually not often. I'm usually moving around trying to get fights in. Khorne corruption will corrupt the land, which will help us to prevent attrition and to make other army units take attrition from other factions, so that's pretty good. Gets a banner and negative 5% for blood host. Heal per second, that's not bad, because we could put that on Scarbrand, and he has a lot of health, so that's gonna kind of work its way up there. And it enables if melee, and we always want him in melee anyway, so that might happen, and it'll kind of help mitigate some of the problems I have with the blood host upkeep. Spell resistant, we don't have a whole lot of spells we have to worry about right now, but this might be something later on for if we run into like Tzeentch or the High Elves or something like that. Rage Within, upkeep is lower for warriors, chosen knights, and of Khorne. And then armor is plus 10 for marauders. That might be a good one early on, because we're gonna have a lot of those guys to begin with. Skulls 50 per turn, diplomatic relations negative 10 with all factions. It's not really a negative for us because we don't want to group with anyone. We want to kill them all. So that might not be the worst. Kind of torn between these 3 here. This one's going to save us money as we recruit for replaceable units early on. And it's going to win us a lot of battles early. This is going to keep Scarbrand alive, but it's only 0.2%. So, I think we're going to take Rage Within. We're going to do that. It's going to take 5 turns, and we spend 300 skulls, which is not much compared to what we have now. And yeah, we'll go with that. And that's it for the turn. All right, let's end this turn and see let's see what our enemies do with us here. First thing, actually, I'm going to make sure I know where all these places are. So it looks like this section here, if you kind of look at it, what was it called? The barrier lands? The barrier idols. Okay, the barrier idols, so that's going to be kind of like a line one. I hate the line ones. I hate them. Because if you see, like, the line ones, whatever, they suck because they have all these different fronts you have to fight on, right? Especially to start out with. It's such a pain in the butt. Because if I take this one, then I have, what, 1, 2, and then some water, 3, 4, maybe 4 areas that I have to defend from. And then the middle one has 1, 2, 3. And it got 2 of my own. Even my capital area has 2 that it has to defend from. Actually, 3. It has 3 it has to defend from on a border alone. And then the mountains kind of help a little bit, but still, it's so much to have to defend from. But if you had, like, one of the ones that have a triple cluster, like 1, 2, 3, you know, you have so much area. It's, yeah, whatever. You guys know. You can see. It's a pain in the butt. And as you can see with the Immortal Empires, we have like 278 to start, and a couple factions already died. A lot of them are like the starting factions that start next to a major faction, and you're meant to demolish them pretty quick. So that's kind of like the top knots are down here for me, is I'm meant to actually defeat them, and then they'll be gone, right? But unlike the other ones, the top knots have a lot more area to deal with. Okay. So now we have plenty of movement. Let's go ahead and start our stuff here. Let's see. We got enemy attrition in the region. Not really all that important right now. It's income, but it's only 3, so we probably want to avoid that. And I don't see anywhere with recruitment that we really want here. We kind of want this area, but we have to wait till we're level 3. So I think we start with our defense and just make sure we don't get taken out early. Like, one of the other issues we have is if a big army kind of sneaks in behind as Scarbrand is out going off somewhere. So we have to watch out for that. So we're going to go ahead and start with the demonic lurkers here. It's going to give our towers a boost. It's going to give hero action negative, attrition negative with siege, which means it's going to give us a lot longer to get back there to protect it. And it's going to get some bonus garrison, which is 2 Bloodletters of Khorne and 1 Warriors of Chaos. So we're going to grab that because eventually we're going to get a lot more help there in case a fight happens. Alright, so we got that. Now let's go to Scarbrand and let's go into this city here. Pretty easy. It's going to be a settlement battle. You can actually bring up the terrain right here so you can see what you're going to be fighting. And luckily they have reduced the amount of settlement battles because it's really damn boring to keep doing settlement battles. We're going to go ahead and do this one because this is the first time we're trying to take over a city. And I like those ceremonial type battles, and we're going to do it. I think we're going to be pretty similar to last time. We're going to send Scarbrand in to mess everybody's day up. There's 2 archer units, so we might try to swing around since they don't have the cavalry this time. We might bring the dogs kind of like around there. I think this might be low terrain, so we probably come from over here because height does matter for charges in this game. You have to plan that out. So keep that in mind while you're going through. We don't really have any reason to separate these guys this time, so I'm just going to group them all together. Okay. Yeah, this looks like about the same as last time, so the dogs are going to come from over here. Scarbrand, we're just going to run straight at them with you. The leader's going to kind of hang back with the bigger group here, and that's where we're going to go. All right, let's get going. So you can always pause, you can play, you can slow it down to try to help out that. I usually like to do that at the beginning so I can kind of give out all the orders that I want and make sure everybody's going where I want them to go to start with. And then we play it. Sometimes when we have a lot of units, it helps out quite a bit because the unit count gets kind of massive. This is just a starting army, and I think you could have up to 20 slots filled. So as you can easily tell, it'll go real fast. All right, we're going to dodge that arrow area. We're going to come in over here. And as soon as we get in range to grab the arrow boys with this one, we're going to use it. And we're going to use the rest of everyone else besides this unit because they went the wrong way to go over this group here. All right, come on. We got to get Scarbrand. He's getting blobbed down a little bit. Let's get him a little closer. There we go. Okay, we're good now. Now we take the dogs and we charge the back in there. And then we will take these guys and charge here, charge there, charge there. And then we'll bring in these guys here to slow that down. We'll go there. And then we can take him, and we'll just kind of join the battle over here to keep that leadership bonus. So one thing to note is when you're engaged with somebody and then you charge from the rear, it's actually a bigger leadership loss. So it'll do more damage to the leadership if you actually charge from behind. So it's really good if you can to kind of skirt around behind if you have time or if you want to. In this case, we're so much outpacing them that there's not much point. As you can see, this unit's terrified from Scarbrand. Excuse me. And they're already pretty much routed. And that was just with the dogs. The dogs are our weakest unit by far. So we can bring these guys kind of in and get this terrified Savage Orc unit and keep them from routing, essentially. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to swing the dogs around and attack this Savage Orc unit on the flank here, and that's going to plummet their leadership. Watch the leadership plummet when they get attacked from behind. They're already plummeting. They're at 11. And then attack from the rear, -16. So they're done. They're done. Just from that charge alone, basically, got them there. And now we can just buff everybody's attack here with one of Khorne's abilities. As the game progresses and we get more blood over here, blood for the blood god generated, we can do more abilities, which will unlock more as we get a bigger army. But to start with, just plus 24 melee attack is pretty good. The melee attack amount is essentially how easy it is to hit. So you have two different stats for that. You have melee attack and melee damage, or weapon strength, or whatever I think it's called. And the melee attack tells you how likely you are to hit, and that's going against their defense. So the higher the melee attack, the more likely you are to hit, and then the more strength you have, the more damage you do. It's pretty easy numbers with that, and it's just one of those things where it's only complicated because of how many variables there are, but the game itself does a pretty good job of handling that for you. So let's take a quick look. Only 494 gold this time. That's because they didn't have any of the cavalry. The cavalry count quite a bit in terms of the gold that's taken out. So we actually did more with this group than we did with him because these guys basically soloed the two Savage Orc units with the help of the dogs here. So that was a really good round for us. I think that was a lot more strategic than our first one even. But there's also a lot less to do. Alright, so here's kind of what we do with settlements. You can do various things. You can occupy it by sacrificing some skulls to go in there. You can sack it, which will leave it in the hands of the ones that already have it. It'll reduce province stability. So it's not great if you want to control the province. But you'll get some money and you'll get some unit replenishment. Now, in this case, normally I would never want to occupy with this army because we can raise it, and then sometimes we can actually get those for free later on. We have a percentage amount of adjacent areas we can get for free if they're raised. So usually I go for here because you have two raising options. You either raise it for the skulls, or skulls for the skull throne, or you do blood for the blood god, and you get that blooded host, the blood host that I talked about earlier. But we don't really need a blood host now, so obviously we don't want to do that. And because we want at least the first whole province, we want to take this, so we are going to occupy it here. Which means we're going to have to try to get more skulls before we get the last one over here. But that's our goal, because once we get the province, we can do province abilities, and then also this one has, what, three different things it can do? No, that's just important to Savage Orc, so we don't care that much about it. About that part anyway, but we do want the whole province, because then we get some bonuses we can do to increase control, increase income, and so on and so forth. So, this is a perfect one to get because it's a 3-level one and it's income oriented, so we want to keep that, and then eventually when we get to level 2, that's when we'll move over like this guy, or we'll move over the one that we destroyed. For the time being, we have what determines whether we can level up the main buildings is this growth icon. So right now we have 3 turns until we get another growth point, and then once we have a growth point, we can upgrade this from 1 to 2 if we want, which is probably what we're going to do just for recruitment purposes. Or we'll do the Gore Gazan once we see how that is, up to 2, and we might just do double recruitment areas so that we can get our army built up. But see, we can get this to level 3, but we have to have 2 population surplus. And normally what I like to do is get our main capitals up to 3, then we can get the other 2 up to 3, then we get this up to 5. So that's usually what I do, but in this case I think we're going to do it a little bit different just so we can recruit some more people. Alright, we're going to grab 3 warriors from the local. Actually, no, we're going to get 2 warriors and some Chaos Furies. So the warriors I'm grabbing because we have the technology coming that's going to boost their armor. Pretty sure that's what we decided, right? Yeah, we got some less upkeep and more armor. Armor for the Marauder, so not for them, but less upkeep. So we're still taking them anyway. And then the Furies is a absolutely fantastic harassment unit. It's basically a faster, more mobile version of the dogs, but aren't quite as tough and aren't quite as strong. So as you see, there's only 40 of them in there. Their armor's only 20. Their leadership's pretty low. Their melee's magic attack, which is great. Their defense is only 18, so you never really want to use these guys offensively. You really want to use them to chase down units. So like when we had that cavalry running, sometimes cavalry will be faster than our dogs, or the dogs will be bottled down by the infantry that they end up fighting with. These Furies, however, will not. So that's essentially what we use them for, which frees up our dogs to do backline harassment and to charge rear flanks. So that's what we're going to do there. And now we're leveling up Scarbrand. We're probably going to take the Brutal Charge because we really want to focus on him and get him leveled up as good as possible. It's going to give our weapon strength plus 5% and our charge bonus plus 5. So weapon strength is absolutely massive for Scarbrand. He's got a 651 base, so that means if he hits, it does 651 damage, and 195 of that damage is base, with 457 damage is piercing. So no matter what, he's going to do 457 damage to whoever he hits, just straight up piercing the armor. So essentially their armor is going to mean nothing to Scarbrand, which is fantastic. And our Blood Reaper here, that's the name of him. I don't think we care all that much about this down here because we're going to keep going with that. So maybe we start buffing him up and he's going to get the same thing. Because eventually he's going to get some mounts, which will be good. So yeah, we're going to take that and we'll call it good. And we're going to end our turn. Our next move is we're going to continue to kind of recruit as we move for the most part. And we're going to go to try to secure this province. Once we've secured the province, then we can start looking for the next province we want and probably start reviewing what our win condition is going to be. Because we do have a specific win condition. I haven't bothered looking at it yet because it really doesn't matter to start with. We need to get this first province secured. And once we have done that, then we'll start doing the other stuff. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Tell me what you think about Total War Warhammer 3. Are you like us and think that they definitely missed out on an opportunity? They should have just called it Total Warhammer. So that's what I'm going to refer to it as the rest of the time, because Total War Warhammer 3 is a lot longer to say than just Total Warhammer. But anyway, tell me what you thought. If you have any suggestions, put them down below. And I hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to see more of these, let me know. If you absolutely hate Total War Warhammer, let me know. But thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.